Welcome back to Ozarks Tonight. Our political analyst, Dr. Brian Calfano, joins us now to talk about the 3 COVID-19 vaccines asking for FDA approval. Brian, thank you so much for being here.
Great to see you, Sarah.
So health officials are expecting a post-holiday surge of cases. Do you believe this is putting more stress on the race for a vaccine?
Great question, and I'm not sure. And the reason I say that is because since the beginning of this crisis, there's been this push to get a vaccine as quickly as possible to try to get as much of our lives back to normal, whatever that means, really, as we possibly can in the shortest time that it takes to do that. And so this isn't a new thing. I mean, you could say that there was a lot of pressure back in March and April when all of the shutdowns were going on across the country. Certainly there is a sense of urgency given that the projections are thousands of more dead, thousands of more in the hospital. And who knows really where the upper bound on all of this ends up being. And if you are someone who has dealt with COVID or you have a family member who's dealt with COVID, God forbid you've lost a loved one, certainly you know the impacts here. But in terms of coming up with a pharmaceutical product and something that passes FDA muster, in the end, these companies work fast, but they have to work fast within the protocols designed to make sure that what we're putting in our bodies is safe and effective. And so there's only so much speed that they can end up ramping up to. Again, this Project Warp Speed really is quite an accomplishment for the government and for the private sector, and really for the Trump administration. I think a lot of the really impact of this vaccine, 3 of them now, as you said, being out and shown to be effective at least 85%, is really an accomplishment that few thought was possible. But the president's not really getting the kind of credit that he probably should on this, because so much of the news is taken up with the certification for the presidential race and that sort of thing. So politics ends up, I think, ruining this good news in the end anyway.
Definitely. So, we mentioned that there's 3 different vaccines. What are some of the main differences between the vaccines from AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna?
The biggest one is going to be storage. And so the Pfizer vaccine especially requires storage at around -80 Celsius, which is just an amazingly low number when you think about how cold that has to be. And in the end, there are only so many facilities that can hold a vaccine at that temperature. Most pharmacies, most commercial pharmacies in and around Southwest Missouri actually can't do that. And so there's a problem in terms of the processing. Now, larger municipalities with larger storage capacity can use this Pfizer vaccine more effectively. And so what you might see is logistically, the Pfizer vaccine gets shipped to places where they can actually handle that kind of cold storage on a larger scale, whereas the other 2 vaccines end up becoming something that is more of a maybe commercial pharmacy type, front door type output that people can go make an appointment at their favorite pharmacy, local pharmacy, get the vaccine and move on. The other thing, though, to keep in mind, these vaccines are a 2-timer type deal. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, that's a 2-time process. People have to get 2 shots for this to actually take effect. And that's something that people need to keep in mind. This is not a situation where you just go once and it's done. You're going to have to come back and get a second shot. And that's really important because people don't necessarily focus on the logistics of that in their lives and being able to make 2 separate appointments to be able to go and do this. But in the end, I think if it's possible to make sure that this vaccine is as safe as it looks to be in these trials, and we really will only know that when we start getting it. That is the other issue here. Some people get concerned about that because they say, well, we know from these trials that, yes, they're safe, but it depends on how the batches are made, too. If there's a manufacturing issue with one of these vaccines, and there have been in cases past where a vaccine was manufactured and it was manufactured improperly through no one's fault, just human error, and it ended up making people sick. So that's something we all cross our fingers and hope does not repeat, as just the natural process of mass producing these kinds of medicines, because you could imagine the public relations nightmare, the public trust nightmare that would result from that if people end up getting severe COVID infections as a result of the vaccine.
So we mentioned the speed at which they're trying to come up with a vaccine. What's standing in the way for FDA approval, and when could we expect approval?
Right now, literally nothing in terms of a holdup that the government is trying to, I think, stall this. That's the exact opposite of what the government wants to do. The holdup is to just make sure that you've got really the boxes checked when you go through as a pharmaceutical company saying, here are the trials that we conducted, here are data that we collected. This is the efficacy rate, the effectiveness rate of the particular vaccine that we've had under consideration. The FDA says, okay, fine. They also want to see, though, about the production capability. And they want to know, well, where is this going to be produced? And how do you plan to ship it? And then what are the standards for the shipping and the protocols involved there? So going from point A to really point Z in terms of the logistical process is what the FDA is interested in seeing. But all of that process, which normally takes years and through a lot of regulatory hurdles, a lot of that's just been cleared up at this point. So the projections now, it's great news. We're looking at mid-December. Some have reported December 12th as sort of the launch date for at least the first responders to get the first shots of this vaccine, which is amazing. It breaks the record for the speed at which a new vaccine has been developed. The previous record was measles, and that was over a 3 or 4 year development period. So you're looking here at a series of developments, 3 separate vaccines over a period of 6 or 7 or 8 months. That is unprecedented, and it truly, I think, is a time to tip our hats to both the cooperation of the government and the private sector making this a reality.
It truly is incredible. Brian, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sarah.
We'll have more Ozarks Tonight coming up after the break.